All right, so continuing on the 9-week study guide, we're now doing the portion where you would not be able to use calculator. So we didn't use calculator in class. We won't use one on these on the test. So remember, if they're the same sign, we would circle them. That changes to 6 plus 3, so that gives us 9. These we would also circle because that's a double sign. Now we have 2 plus 7, which gives me 9. Right here I have a double sign, so I'm going to write -8. Those are different, which means minus 6. Now that I have a new problem, remember this problem's gone. -8 minus 6, those are the same sign, so I'm going to add them together, which gives me 14, and it's negative since 8 is bigger. All right here, that parenthesis doesn't mean anything, but these are both minus signs, so I'm going to put them together. Sarah, would you mind shutting my door? So I'm going to put those together, 4 plus 5, because they're the same sign as 9. We keep the negative that's in front of the bigger number, 5. All right, on number 5, I have a double sign that I'm going to circle. So I have -14 plus 6. So now that problem is gone. They have different signs, so I'm going to subtract. 14 minus 6 is 8. Keep the sign of the big number, which is the negative. 6, I have a double sign, so it changes to 9 minus 8. So that problem's gone. Now we just have 9 minus 8, which we know is 1. Number 7, circle my double sign, so it becomes 2 plus 4. That problem's gone. 2 plus 4 I know is 6. Double sign. 6 minus 3, since they're different. 6 minus 3 I know is 3. So those all ended up kind of working out to be nice problems. Number 9, I have a double sign, so I'm going to write a new problem. -10 minus 4. Now that I have the new problem, they're the same sign, so I'm going to add them and get 14. Negative because 10 is bigger. Double sign, write a new problem, -18 plus 7. My new problem has different signs, so I'm going to subtract. 18 minus 7 is 11. I keep the negative with the big number. 5 plus 6 is just 5 plus 6. I get 11. Double sign, my new problem says 11 plus 3. 11 plus 3, my new problem now is just 14. 9 minus 10. Remember, 9 is positive, so these would be different signs. I'm going to get a 1. It's a -1 since 10 is bigger. No, we'll do this later. Thank you, though. All right, I'm going to circle my double sign here. I have -6. Double sign, they're different, so it's -10. Now that I have a new problem, they have the same, so I'm going to add them. 6 and 10 is 16. We keep the negative with it because 10 is bigger. 6 minus 3 is 3. And then same sign, I add those together. 7 plus 4 is 11. Keep the negative that was with the big number 7. All right. Now we're to multiplying and dividing. We can see a clear split here. Remember, multiplying and dividing, I don't look at the big number. It's just the same signs would be positive. Different signs would be negative. All right, so when we divide this, it's different signs. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. It's a negative because they are different signs. 14 times 2 is 28. It's a negative because they are different signs. 5 times 7 is 35. It's a negative because they are different signs. 5 times 11 is 55. They're both negative. That means they're the same sign, so it's positive. 7 times 4 is 28. It's going to be negative because they're different signs. 42 divided by 3 is, 14. And it's going to be positive since they're the same sign. 15 divided by 3 is 5. It's negative because they're different signs. 36 divided by 12 is 3. It's negative because they are different signs. 9 times 8 is 72. It's negative because they are different signs. 8 times 3 is 24. They're both negative, same sign, so it's positive. 40 divided by 5 is 8. It's negative because they have different signs. 24 divided by 3 is 8, and it's positive because they both have the same sign. 48 divided by 16 is 3, and it's negative because they have different signs. 15 times -4 is, 15 times 4 is 60, and then it's negative since they have different signs. 30 times 4 is 120. It's positive because they both have the same sign. 108 divided by 9 is 12. It's negative because they have different signs. All right, on number 33, I'm going to do those first two numbers first. So 6 times 1 is 6. It's negative because they're different signs. Now I can do times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. It's negative because those two numbers have different signs. All right, 34, the first two. 6 times 5 is 30. It's negative because they're different signs. Bring down my times 3. 30 times 3 is 90, and it's going to be negative because they still have different signs. Number 35, 3 times 6 is 18. I'm going to put a negative there because they have different signs. Bring down my times negative 6. All right, 18 times 6 is going to give me 108. No, it's not. 18 times 6, yeah, 108. Sorry. 108, and it's going to be positive because now those two have the same sign. All right? 8 times 6 is going to give me 48, and it's negative because those two have different signs, times negative 3. Now I'm going to do 48 times negative 3, so 8 times 3 is 24. That's going to be 144, and it's positive since those now have the same sign. All right, looking at my next two, I'm going to circle those two. Negative 3 times positive 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Negative since they're different. I'm also going to go ahead and do those two. Negative 3 times 3 is 9, and that one's going to be positive since they're the same sign. Now I'm going to look at this final multiplication. 9 times 9 is 81. I'm going to make it negative since they're different there. All right, this one over here, 3 times 3 gives me 9. Pairing those up. 1 times 3 is 3, and that's a negative because they're different signs. 9 times 3 is 27. I'm going to put a negative because those two now have different signs. All right, now that was quick. Remember, you can always go back, relook at a problem, and its description if we need to. All right, number 1 and 2, we're going to need to do a separate sheet of paper, so I'm going to get out a piece of paper so we can do 1 and 2. All right, so looking at number 1, I'm going to get out a loose leaf sheet of paper here. Here we go. All right, so we need to find the mean, median, mode, range, LQ, UQ, IQR, and the mean absolute deviation, making sure we do this on notebook paper like it says. So for number 1, I'm going to start out by making sure I write my numbers in order. So I have 6, 7. I'm going to mark them out as I do this. 8, 8, 9, 9, and 9. And we're going to do the mean, making sure I label what I'm doing, median, mode, range, UQ, LQ, IQR, and then to have some room, and I know this takes up a lot of space, my mean absolute deviation. I'm going to do that over here. Okay. All right, so my mean, I need to add them all up, and then there are 7 numbers, so I'm going to divide by 7. So let's see, 6 plus 7, 6 plus 7, plus 8, plus 8, plus 9, plus 9, plus 9. And remember, these statistics problems will be able to use a calculator on, and when I divide that by 7, I get 8. My median is the number in the middle, which is 8. My mode here, 9 definitely appears the most, so 9 would be my mode. And my range, I do 9 minus 6, which is 3. I think we did this problem already on another portion of the review. All right, let's look at the UQ. So I'm looking at the big side in the middle since it's upper quartile. So that's going to be 9 in the middle. My LQ, 7 in the middle. So when I subtract those, I get 2. So my IQR is 2. All right, mean absolute deviation. Remember, that's where we take the mean. Then we subtract, and then we do the mean again. So my mean was 8, so I'm going to start with 6 minus 8. My mean was 8. Let me write that down. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with my first number. 6 minus 8 gives me a 2. 7 minus 8 gives me a 1. Remember, I'm just leaving off negatives, and my calculator gives me a negative. 8 minus 8 is 0. 8 minus 8 is 0. 9 minus 8 is 1, 9 minus 8 is 1, and 9 minus 8 is 1. So there's my 7 numbers. I'm going to do the mean with these now. 2 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0. We do have to count those zeros. Plus 1 3 times. So 1, 1, and 1 equals. I got 6. We're dividing that by 7. So I get 0.9 when I round that. All right. So that 5 rounded it up to a 9. 0.9. All right, and that is my mean absolute deviation, 0.9. I guess I should be labeling this. Is that mad? All right. Let's look at number 2 because we got 2 of these. All right, again, listing those in order. 1, 1. Then I have a 3, a 4, and 8, 8, and 9. All right, so mean, median, mode, range, UQ. And remember, guys, if I go too fast, please pause the video if you're at home working on this. All right, you can always pause it, go back if you missed something or didn't understand something. Okay. All right, so let's look at our means. We're going to add them up. 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 8 plus 8 plus 9. I get 34, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dividing by 7, I'm just going to make sure that I have 7 numbers in here. Okay, divided by 7 gives me, I'm going to write 4.9, because again, I can see right here that 5 would round that up to a 9. All right, my median is in the middle, which is 4. My mode, the 8 and 1, they both appear twice. One doesn't appear more than the other, so I'm going to put 1 and 8. So I can have 2 modes here. My range is 9 minus 1, which is 8. UQ, upper side middle, is 8. LQ, lower side middle, is 1. When I subtract those for my IQR, I get 7. All right, mean absolute deviation, we have 4.9. When I subtract 1, that gives me 3.9. When I subtract 1, I get 3.9 again. When I subtract 3, I get 0.9. Nope, that's not right. I get 1.9. All right. And then when I subtract 4, I get 0.9. And then 8 minus 4.9 gives me 3.1, 3.1, and 4.1 when I do the 9. So just subtracting each of these numbers with that mean is where I'm getting that. All right? So now I'm going to add those up. 3.9 plus 3.9 plus 1.9 plus 0.9 plus 3.1 plus 3.1 plus 4.1. All right, when I add that up, I get 20.9, but I need to divide that by 7 because there are 7 numbers. Again, I get a decimal. I'm just going to round that 8. It rounds that up to a 10. So my answer is actually going to end up rounding to 3.0. I am going to put that 0 just to show that that rounded to a 10. I would not count off for 3. Remember, the test is multiple choice, so 3 would also be acceptable. All right, so there's 1 and 2. Let's see what else we're doing next. All right, statistical or non-statistical. What is each student's favorite pizza topping? Since we're doing different students, we're going to get different favorite toppings. So I'm going to say, yes, this is statistical because I get more than 2 answers. What is the favorite color of these students? At TSGC. And this one, guys, I'm going to be honest, this one was kind of a debate. When I wrote this, I should have said, what is each student's favorite color? Because in my mind, that's what I was thinking. But when I read this, it does say, what is the favorite color? So it's asking for one color, so like the most favorite out of all the students. So if that's one color that we're talking about, that's going to be no. On your 9-week test, guys, they're very, very obvious. If it says each, and we're talking about a bunch of different things, like here, each student, bunch of students, that's going to be statistical. Here, if it's saying just one color, no, because it's one thing. How many classes does each student take at TSGC? Again, we can see that's each student. This one is a little tricky because, guys, when it says how many classes, every single student here can only take 8 classes. So this one is going to be no. And I shouldn't have underlined each there. I was thinking each, yes. But we do have to be careful because how many classes does each student at TSGC take? All of y'all take the same amount of classes. Every one of y'all has 8 classes. All right, for number 6, first of all, I asked for the range. Then I can see here we're going to do that median, LQ, UQ. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in order. That's going to make my range easier as well. So let's see, my smallest number looks like is 437. I'm going to write it down here so I have more space. 437, mark that one out. 456, mark that one out. I don't see any more in the 400s, but I do see a 513, 513, 650, 893, 954, 1018, 1038. You can see I'm going through this kind of slowly, trying to make sure that I don't leave any out. 1, 4, 6, 5. So I have the 117 and 1465, and I can see I've marked all of them out, so I did make sure I wrote all of them down. All right, so the range, we're going to be subtracting these ends. So 1465 minus 437 is going to give me 1028 as my range. The median, so I'm looking for the middle numbers. I'm going to cover up the ends, and I'm just working my way to the inside. I end up with 2 numbers in the middle. So for my median, I'm going to add them up. 893 plus 954. That gives me 1,847. That's not in the middle because we still have to divide that by 2. So now you add them and divide by 2, which gives me 923.5. And I'm just writing that down to make sure that is in the middle of those 2 numbers to make sure it makes sense. So my median, let's kind of write this down here. My median is 923.5. All right, then it wants my lower quartile, so my LQ. So looking on the low side. Now remember, this line is dividing it, so now I have 5 numbers here. My LQ is going to be 513. My UQ, dividing that one in half, is going to be 1,038. All right, so that takes care of 7. Interquartile range, we're subtracting those. So 1,038 minus 513 gives me 525. Let me write that on the correct one. 525 interquartile range. There we go. And are there any outliers? So when I look at this list of numbers, I do not see any numbers that jump out as being really far away. Like I have my 400s here. I can see those numbers do get really big. Yes, this jumps by 300, but they're jumping so much, I would not consider that an outlier. So I would say no outliers. Remember, our outlier, if we have one, it's going to be really obvious. So I'd give you like a number in the 2000s where it really jumps out. All right? Next one. Ooh, we are still doing mean, median, mode, range. That might be a little bit important on the test, all right? So let's list out our numbers. I'm going to go ahead and list them from smallest to biggest. So I know this is my smallest number, which is 10. So I have 10, then I have 20. All right, the next bar would be this one, which is 50. Then I have 60. And then this tall bar right here, which goes all the way up to 90. All right, so let's add those 5 up. 10 plus 20 plus 50 plus 60 plus 90. And then we're going to divide that by 5 to get 46. The median in the middle is 50. The mode, there is no mode because nothing repeats here. And then the range, 90 minus 10 gives me 80. Remember, we're just doing big minus small for my range, in case we forgot. All right, mean absolute deviation. We need the mean. Then we need to subtract. And then we need to do the mean again to get that mean absolute deviation. So my mean, we already know, is 46. If I subtract, starting with that first number, 46 and 10, I get 36. 20, I get 26. When I subtract 50, I get 16. Nope, I get 4. 50 minus 46 is 4. Y'all look, I'm even typing that in my calculator. Double check. You have your calculator on the statistics, so let's use it. And then 60 minus 46 gives me 14. And 90 minus 46 gives me 44. Okay? Okay, so now I can do the mean again. So I'm going to do 36 plus 26 plus 4 plus 14 plus 44. I get 124. I have to divide that by 5. My mean absolute deviation is 24.8. And I can write it here in my chart where I've been writing them. Okay? So we just added them and divided by 5. All right, statistical, non-statistical. Hopefully these are worded better. What was the low temperature last Wednesday in Alabaster? That has one answer, so no, that is not statistical. What were the scores of each student on their statistics test? Guys, every single person is not going to score the same on their test, and it's each student. So yes, that is statistical because we have a bunch of different answers. How many high fives does Dr. Steele give each day of the week? So Monday, he might not give as many high fives as he does by Friday, because Friday's like, woo, high five, we made it through the week. All right, so this is going to be yes, it is statistical, because we're going to get different answers for each day when he's given high fives. All right, let's flip it over. Last part, guys, we're almost there. So exciting. All right. Remember, the attribute is what it's talking about. Guys, that's basically your title. The unit is the measurement that you're using. The means is the tool that you're going to use to get your measurement. So my attribute here is the time used on statistical test. That's what the title of the chart was. That's my attribute. The unit of measure, we are measuring minutes. In order to measure minutes, we need a tool. So the means would be a clock. All right, if I remember correctly from this test, I saw a lot of people put a timer, where you only need to be able to choose one of those. The number of observations, the number of numbers. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers here. So I'd have 6 observations. All right, we're going back into, now we're talking about these integers. Remember, this is a section that you would not have a calculator on. So when I add these, they have different signs. So I subtract, I get 3. It's positive because 9 is bigger. These have a double sign, so I make it -5 plus 41. That problem's gone. Now they have different signs, so I need to subtract them. That's going to give me 36, and it's positive because 41 is bigger and 41 is positive. All right, these are mixed in a little bit more, so I'm switching to division now. Remember, I'm just going to divide like normal. So 234. I would write out my division, divide that by 13. When I divide that, I'm going to get 18. A really great way to do that is I know 8 times 3 gives me 24. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So again, guys, if we needed to see that, like we're doing 234 divided by 13. 13 goes into 23 once, which gives me 13. I subtract, I get 10, bring down the 4. 13 goes into 104. That's going to be 8 times, because that gives me 24. Carry the 2. 8 plus 2, 10. So we get 18 there, and it's negative because they're different signs. All right, here I have a double sign, so I'm going to change this to -18 minus 19. Remember, since there's not parentheses there, this is going to be an addition-subtraction problem. They're the same sign, so I'm going to add them together. Let's see, 8 plus 9 is 17. When I carry that 1, I have 3 ones now. It's a negative because 19 is bigger and negative. Same sign, -3 minus 7. Or different sign, sorry, so I made a minus. Now they're the same sign, so I'm going to add them together to get -10. 19 minus 32. We're just subtracting that. When I think of that, I think about 20 minus 32 would give me 12, so 19 minus 32 is going to be 13, and it's negative since 32 is the bigger number. Here I'm multiplying 7 times 12. I know 7 times 12 is 84, and it's a positive because they're the same sign. Remember, that's a different rule for multiplication. 25 minus 7 is going to give me 18. It's just basic subtraction, regular problem there. All right, 7 minus 9, same sign, which means I'm going to add them together. So I'm going to get 16, and I'm going to make that a negative since 9 is biggest. 40 divided by 20 is 2, and it's positive since they're the same sign. Multiplication, 6 times 4 is 24. It's negative because they're different signs. Kind of just switching quickly between those rules. 12 times 3 is 36. It's positive since they're the same sign. Negative 9 plus 20, different signs, so I'm going to subtract those. I get 11, and it's positive because 20 is bigger. Remember, I only look at the big number for adding and subtracting. All right, you can see here the parentheses is right next to the 5 now. That's why this is multiplication, and this is not. You can see they're right next to each other here, okay? So 5 times 12 gives me 60. I'm going to make it positive because they're the same sign. 18 divided by 9 is 2. It's positive because they're the same sign. 24 divided by 12 is 2. It's negative because those are different signs, and it's division. Here, I have a double sign, so I'm going to make that negative 11 minus 12. Remember, this didn't have the parentheses there, so this is adding and subtracting. Same sign means I'm going to add them together. I get 23, and it's negative because 12, the bigger number, was negative. Here, the parentheses are next to each other, so I'm multiplying. 3 times 12 is 36. It's positive because they're the same sign. 5 times 9 is 45. It's positive because they're the same sign. 300 divided by 20. Guys, the way that I look at this, and I've kind of showed you all that trick, they both have zeros on them, so I'm just going to take those zeros off. Now it's 30 divided by 2. Well, that's a lot easier to think about. 15. 30 divided by 2 is 15 if I break it in half. It's positive because they're the same sign. All right, double sign here, so I end up with 8 plus 5 since that's the same. And now it just says 8 plus 5, which is 13. Here, this is a division symbol. Make sure you look closely. That is division. 65 divided by 5 is 13. They have different signs, so it's negative. 64 divided by 16 is 4, and it's a negative because they have different signs. 66 divided by 6 is 11. It's positive because they have the same sign. All right, the last section, guys, is these conversions. All right, and if you'll remember, we did these on that third page in that packet. We're going to look at those again. I'm going to get a piece of paper out to work these on. I'm just going to work it on this one that we did 1 and 2 on. That would make more sense. All right, so we are on number 42 now. We're given 18 feet, and I'm wanting to change my feet to yards, and I know 1 yard is 3 feet. So that gives me 18 over 3, which equals 6. So on my answer blank, I would fill in 6. All right? And this was yards. And I'm just going to write my answer here with the measurement so I don't have to keep going back and forth. All right? Number 43, we have 72 ounces. We're wanting to change our ounces on the bottom up to pounds. All right, when I change ounces to pounds, we do need to know how those are related, and I know that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. So those go away, leave me with 72 over 16, which we can divide that, and we get, if you type that into your calculator, because this would be on a calculator portion, I can hit 72 fraction button 16. It gives me my new fraction. So I get 4.5 pounds. Okay. Number 44, I'm changing 2 pounds. Changing my pounds to ounces. I know 1 pound equals 16 ounces. You'll see the 1 always has to be by the pound, 16 is by the ounces because that's their relationship. So on the top, when I multiply 2 times 16, that gives me 32, and we're talking about ounces. Since it's just 1 on the bottom, I can leave it. All right, number 45. 4 gallons, multiplying. Gallons goes on the bottom. Quarts goes on the top. All right, I know that 1 gallon has 4 quarts. So on the top, I can see I just have 2 numbers to multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. Quarts should be my answer. All right, 46. All right, 46 says 4.5. So I'm going to do my backwards C here. 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 1 is 9. So I'm going to write 9 over 2, making sure my measurement goes on the top. So we're changing our pints to cups. All right, 1 pint equals 2 cups. All right, so now when I multiply these, I end up with 18 over 2. 9 times 2 is 18, multiply 2. If you wanted to cross these like we were doing, like to simplify, you can, because remember, if it says to multiply, I can simplify in my fractions. All right, 18 divided by 2 gives me 9, or you can just simplify at the end. All right, 47. I have 3 cups. I'm wanting to change my cups to ounces. All right, I know that 1 cup okay, I'm thinking this should have said fluid ounces. Yeah, so we want to make that fluid ounces, guys. I'm sorry about that mistake on here. All right, so I know that 1 cup equals 8 fluid ounces. So my cups go away, leaving me with 24 fluid ounces. All right, looking at the next one, number 48. We have 2 miles, and I'm wanting to change that from miles to feet. I know 1 mile is 5,280 feet. All right, you should have those measurements in your notes still from this 9 weeks. We have not cleaned out our binders yet. 2 times 5,280. We get 0, that's 16, 5, 10,560 feet. Remember, you will be able to use your calculator for these conversions. All right, 49, again, I ended up with that fraction. So I want to do my backwards C. 1 times 4 is 4, plus the 1 is 5. So now I have 5 over 4, making sure my mile still goes on the top. And I'm changing miles to feet. 5,280 feet are in 1 mile. So on the top, I have 5 times 5,280, which is 26,400 over 4. Those miles leaving me, feet is what will be in my answer. So I'm going to do 26,400. Fraction button, 4 on the bottom, and it simplifies all the way to a whole number of 6,600 feet. All right, number 50, I have 5,000 pounds, and I want to change my pounds to tons. I know 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, so when I do that, I'm going to end up with 5,000 over 2,000. Pounds go away, leave me with tons. So 5,000, fraction button 2,000. It'll simplify everything for me all the way down to 2.5. So my answer here would be 2.5 tons. All right, 51. I have 13 cups. I want to change my cups to pints. 1 pint is 2 cups. So I end up with 13 over 2. Again, I'm going to use that fraction button, 13, fraction button 2. Which simplifies it all the way down to 6.5. So 6 1/2 pints. Okay. Then I have to flip that over. Thought I could make it. So close. All right, number 52. Again, we see that fraction, so we're going to do the backwards C. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11. 4 doesn't change on the bottom. Quarts, remember? Quarts goes on the top, so I can put it on the bottom here, and we're changing it to pints. All right, 1 quart equals 2 pints. So when I multiply here, I get 22 over 4. All right, I can type that with my fraction button, 22, fraction button 4 equals 5.5 pints. All right, number 53. Backwards C again because I have a fraction here. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus 3, 25, 26, 27, leaving that 8 on the bottom. So I get 27 over 8. My T for tons goes on the top. We're changing that tons to pounds. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. All right, so I'm going to do 27 times 2,000, which is going to give me 54,000 over 8. And I can just type that in. 54,000, fraction button 8. It'll simplify it for me all the way down to 6,750. 6,750, and that was talking about LB, my pounds. All right. Guys, y'all's 9 weeks test, it is multiple choice. You will have one section without a calculator, doing like your positive and negative addition. There's a couple of fraction problems on there that we've been practicing last week. They're pretty straightforward and easy. Everything is multiple choice. You'll have a non-calculator part. You will turn that in. Then I'll give you the second part, and I'll also hand you a calculator at that time to use. That's the calculator we've been using in class daily this year. Please make sure you come in prepared. All right, make sure we know those statistics. That's the biggest part. We saw that a lot on here. All right, guys, y'all have a good week. Remember, my treetop folks, you can take your test on Thursday since you will not be here Friday. Just make sure you're prepared. Make sure you've watched this video.